It might be St. Patrick's Day, but we're going to tell you right away why we don't celebrate that crap around here. Also, are the Diamondbacks ever going to name an opening day starter? All of this and the results of them getting absolutely shamrocked on an anti-snake holiday on this episode. Don't you go anywhere. We're starting in 30 seconds. St. Patrick's Day to you all. Welcome into another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montia, occasionally known as a very lonely podcast host. Also, your mayor, PHNX, but I am not lonely on this show all the time. I got my man, large intimate, Kevin Thomas on the ones and twos. How you doing, my friend? Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I am good, Derek. I am very good. It's a
put yourself. No, we're doing this differently now. Put yourself on screen. That's my guy.
Hello.
Right there. Kevin Thomas, presented by All Pro Shade Concepts, as well as the show.
I am presented by All Pro Shades Concepts today. Yeah. Shout out to our good friends over at All Pro Shades Concepts.
They would shade you from that light that's right in your face right now. That's for sure. But hello to you all, and hello to you, KT. We don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day on this show. We are no fan of St. Patrick around here. For those of you that may not remember, this is the man that drove all the snakes out of Ireland on a podcast hosted and watched by snake aficionados. No, sir. No, sir. The earliest writings about Patrick, I'm not even going to call him St. Patrick, ridding Ireland of snakes are by Jocelyn of Furness, according to Wikipedia, in the late 12th century, who says that Patrick allegedly chased them into the sea after they attacked him during his fast on a mountain. Now, I will say fasting will make you angry, right? I mean, I think we can all agree on that. But angry enough to chase all the snakes out of Ireland? Get out of here. It's all lies. All lies. Also, per the Keeper of Natural History at the National Museum of Ireland in Dublin, Kevin, at no time have there been any suggestion of snakes in Ireland. So there was nothing for St. Patrick to banish. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. And on this show about snakes, we don't celebrate frauds, especially on a day where, as our headline suggests, the Diamondbacks absolutely got shamrocked in both games they played today. The Diamondbacks lost by a combination of 23-6 in 2 games today. So not a great day. So we're not going to celebrate it, but we are going to celebrate All Pro Shades Concepts because it's already hot. My air conditioning kicked on today. Not good stuff happening already in Arizona because things are getting sunny really fast. So make sure to call them to add to your outdoor living space. But the Dbacks lose today by a score of 11-5 to the Angels. They were actually quite in that game at one point. Kevin Newman, former Diamondback, he was a problem for us defensively today. They lose that one 11-5. Merrill Kelly went 2 2/3 innings pitched. He gave up 6 hits, allowed 3 earned runs, didn't walk anyone, struck out 4. Not a great day for Merrill, giving up the 6 hits and the 3 earned runs, but still not anything as bad as what happened out in Surprise, Arizona, to one Ryan Nelson. Corbin Carroll was 2 for 4 in today's game. He had a triple, he had an RBI. No real concerns in this one, I don't think. The majority of the damage was done late in the 8th and the 9th inning. And that was by some minor league relievers in Edgar Garcia in his first game of spring and Zach Barnes. But yeah, they got beat in that one. Hello to all of you in the chat, by the way. Jagurtha is here, so of course that means it's going to be an incredible day. And the Journey making his first time watching live this season, definitely not driving while I type this. Be safe. That's all I have to say. And that goes for today in general because it's St. Patrick's Day. I had some beers around here somewhere, but they hid them from me. So that's probably for the best because I need to drink after watching the Diamondbacks lose one game 11-5 and the other game to the Royals by a score of 12-1. Ryan Nelson, I have no idea what happened in this game because I wasn't paying attention. I was watching the other game and working a bunch of other jobs. But the Diamondbacks, Ryan Nelson got kind of knocked around a bit in 3 innings. He allowed 11 hits, gave up 9 runs, 8 of them earned. He didn't walk anyone, and he only struck out 1. So if you want to get crazy about the standings here, I think, Kevin, what we need to do is we need a graphic that shows the 3 remaining Diamondbacks pitchers that are all vying for the final spot in the starting rotation. It's like one of those horse races at the state fair, right? Because really what's happening is it feels like on any given day, one guy gains a tremendous amount of space on another one, inexplicably, just because you rolled the ball into the 9 hole or whatever the case may be. I'm pretty sure that's how that game works at the Carnival. But speaking of the guy that he's up against, that would be Brandon Pfaadt, and Pfaadt was fabulous on I believe it was on Sunday. Yeah, it was on Sunday. He went 5 innings pitched, allowed 2 hits, no runs, 0 walks, 7 strikeouts. I'm going to say this as loudly as I can because J.A. wanted to know. He said, what about Pfaadt yesterday? How can you consider sending this man down to Reno? I know it's a spring training game. I say that all the time. We have to. I repeat myself constantly on this show, mostly because I'm by myself here and I just ramble on sometimes, as you guys are well aware. But it's also because these things are, I mean, again, this is kind of a crazy thing when you see Brandon Pfaadt go out there and shove like this in a game, and to think that this man might be the guy that ends up in Reno. Again, just due to circumstance, not due to his own fault, not due to anything other than that, but it's hard to imagine that is the outcome of this whole thing. We still have Jordan Montgomery to make his next start in a Cactus League game, and again, that, I think I said this 20 times on the show on Friday, that remains to be seen what happens on his next start, right? And how all of this factors in with just, I think as Candace said, 10 days left to go, right? At this point, we have not a lot of time left between now and opening day. So the Diamondbacks have a handful of starts to see the guys that they really need to make a decision on. And not only that, but Torey has a decision to make still about his opening day starter. More than half of the league has already announced who their opening day starter at this point is. And we have maybe some speculation on why Torey hasn't announced that yet. But again, going back to the results of the weekend, at least, the Diamondbacks won both games there. Might have been just by a little bit. But again, if you care about those things during spring training, the Diamondbacks did win both of their games. Corbin Carroll had an Oppo Taco home run. Great to see him back from that lower back tightness. And man, leading the way, right? Corbin currently leads the team in home runs. He has a 387 batting average, a 441 on-base percentage, 1312 OPS, 4 home runs, and 10 RBIs. So big season coming in potentially for Corbin Carroll if he can keep this up and stay healthy, that's for sure. And Ina Jackson taking a step back. She said Pfaadt will be super hard to knock out of the top 5 rotation. Yeah, man. I mean, again, if the Diamondbacks are going to put the best guys in the rotation, then you're right there. But if it's a victim of circumstance, then we'll see how it plays out. And then the Journey says, how weird is it that technically the MLB season starts tomorrow with the Cubs and Dodgers, but we still have a week and a half of spring training left to go? It's very weird, very weird. And we're going to talk about hopefully how those effects impact those teams negatively, because that's really what we want here. You got to root for one team, and that team is the Diamondbacks. So, but yeah, Corbin Carroll looks great. A lot of players might not look so good this spring, might not want to put too much concern into that. But, again, when you want to highlight how good some of the guys, especially, Naylor continues to be good. Corbin Carroll continues to be good for this team. So they win those 2 games over the weekend. On Friday, we discussed it briefly, but the Diamondbacks had their spring breakout game against the Royals. They won that by a score of 5-2 over the Royals prospects. Our guy, Lou James, Gino Groover, had a big night, 2 for 3 with a double, a triple, and an RBI. Drew Jones had a 2-hit night himself. Ryan Waldschmidt went 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a walk. And then Dylan Ray earned the win after going 2 scoreless innings. So fun night to go out and see the youngsters. And Diamondbacks guys got it done. Great night for Diamondbacks baseball. But overall, again, the big story here is that Ryan Nelson really struggled today. And as far as his future is concerned, it would appear that, he's not necessarily fallen out of the race extremely, but it feels like he's kind of always been the guy. Despite the fact that we've said it's 3 pitchers vying for one spot, it feels like Nelson is the guy that is most likely to either end up in the bullpen or in Reno. And today's performance, unfortunately, did not help that one bit. His line, once again, 3 innings pitched, 11 hits, 9 runs allowed, 8 earned runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Kevin, is it too much to put it that way? Is it too much to think that, like, especially when the Diamondbacks are really trying to, figure out the best candidate, and these guys are all so close for Torey Lovullo and his pitching staff, or his coaching staff, excuse me, that like one big, I guess one really bad outing like this could really drop you out and kind of make you no longer a consideration in that race.
Yeah, I mean, Derek, it's a great problem to have for the coaching staff and management, obviously, to have so many arms. But if you are one of those arms, it leaves you a lot less room for error. I think you are right on that.
There's a lot of pressure.
Because there's a lot of competition, right? And if the competition is that strong, you do have to bring your best every day because that is what you're being judged off of. Because they know the talent that you have, but if they have a ton of talent, it's about who's producing at that point. So, yeah, I think you're right on that.
Yeah. And it's, again, you see Brandon Pfaadt go out and shove like he did on Sunday, puts a lot of pressure on you to come out and perform on Monday. And once again, Monday being a notoriously anti-snake holiday. And I'm not going to let this go. I need Jesse Jr. over here. I should have him right now. I'm concerned about where he is. There's a lot of talk in the chat right now about Alek Thomas. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right about that. There is a question in regards to Alek Thomas, center field, who's going to end up there. Obviously, Jake McCarthy feels like the natural fit. It doesn't really feel like Jake has won the job as much as, come here, my friend, bring him in. Doesn't feel like Jake has won the job, like hands down. When you look at his numbers, which we will hear based on one of our Mailbag Monday questions, I don't feel like Jake's running away with it, but I also don't feel like Alek is doing much to make a case for himself. And unfortunately, when it comes down to it, Jake McCarthy is very good defensively. Alek Thomas is very good defensively. Somewhat of a wash. It's really going to come down to, I think, how they're performing at the plate. I haven't seen a lot this spring out of Alek. Some questions in the chat. El Gallo says, can we agree Alek Thomas is washed? I don't think so. I still have a lot of faith in Alek Thomas. I know he's a big leaguer, and I know he's struggling right now, but I definitely think he can make adjustments and be coached out of this that he's going through. Candace says, I believe Jake is the way to go. I love Alek, but you can't deny that Jake is the smarter move in my opinion. You're not wrong there. I mean, especially, like I said, Jake, when you watch Jake play center field, again, Alek has very good instincts and he's extremely athletic. So he makes plays look easy. Jake makes things look very natural, to be honest. So I don't know. There's a couple of battles still left in camp, but it really does feel like a certain number of guys have already kind of won their spot. I don't know how the outsiders, even those guys performing really well, like a Trey Mancini, who is not only playing incredibly well, but is a tremendous story that we've discussed on this show. I don't know how he can crack into the 40-man roster. I really don't. So it's difficult because it's not a matter of even necessarily being able to do enough to win a spot. It's more based on the fit for what Torey and his staff are looking for to fill that spot. There's one backup positional, or one backup position for the positional players available. And it's going to go to one of the guys that's going to be the infielder. And we'll talk about that here shortly as well, and who the best candidate could be for that. But the Diamondbacks have tough decisions to make. And then beyond that, they got to figure out how they can continue, especially some of these guys that might end up trying to land potentially with another team elsewhere, how they can convince them to stick around and, be a part of the depth that this team is going to need as this regular season, kind of goes on, right? So I don't know, Kev. I'm not ready to write Ryan Nelson out of it, but I feel like between the fact that he has the versatility to go to the bullpen and the versatility to go down to Reno, makes him a little bit easier of a target to do one of those two things with. Brandon Pfaadt, you're going to keep him stretched out no matter what. So if he's not in the starting rotation, especially the way he's pitching right now, you're going to have him starting in Reno. You're going to have him starting on opening day in Reno, and you're going to have him available based on the emergency situation of one of the starting pitchers getting hurt.
Yeah, Derek, and I think Ina Jackson in the chat brought up a good point about Pfaadt being extended to 5 innings and how important that is for projecting this forward, right? Because if you look at who you want more looks at, right, I think that you want guys stretched out and warmed up that you're going to actually utilize to start the season. So I think Ina Jackson might be onto something with this one, Derek.
Well, she knows her stuff. And also Jordan Montgomery, going back to him, he's not stretched out, right? Like, he's had a limited number of appearances. He's only pitched in one Cactus League game up to this point, and that game was a disaster. So I don't really know how quickly he can factor in to the starting rotation. I was suspicious about it. I speculated on it. I don't know how they're going to do it. I still had this feeling that some way Jordan Montgomery is going to end up on like the 15-day IL before opening day. And that's kind of what the initial decision is going to be. There's no indication for that. This is purely me recklessly speculating. However, it feels definitely like that could be what we see. I just don't know. I don't know how soon he's going to be ready to pitch, and it doesn't really feel like, even if he's been pitching in backfield games, that he's ready for major league starts. So this next start in the Cactus League for Montgomery is going to be huge. It's going to be huge, and that might again just be reckless speculation on my part, but I can't imagine it not being huge for him, huge for Torey, huge for the organization to determine on what the next steps are for the starting rotation and for Jordan Montgomery's career. So a lot of pressure there. Hopefully he can live up to it. On the other side of this break, though, we are going to talk about the last position available on the Arizona Diamondbacks and who is kind of leading the way there. A lot of good backup candidates for the infield. We're going to discuss them on the other side of this break. Don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, again, big shout out to All Pro Shades Concepts, not only for their tremendous commercials, but for the way that they have been shading the Valley with their amazing custom fit awnings. They have hundreds of designs and colors to choose from, and they can work with your HOA for approvals because we know how that goes. They're a company from right here in the Valley. They were once making these awnings by hand for family and friends, and now they are mass producing them at a better level of quality for all of us here in the Valley. They have roll down patio shades that block the sun and can keep your patio up to 20 degrees cooler, and they can also replace and fix most old and outdated patio shades and motorized awnings. So check them out. Again, they've been in business for 20 years right here in the Valley, licensed, bonded, and insured. Call them at 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. And even if you don't, just check out their commercials. They're hilarious. And I appreciate comedy around here. And speaking of comedy, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. Am I right? Well, again, if you want to commiserate with fellow Suns fans, if you want a place that'll make you happy even while watching a Suns game, go to Spinato's Pizzeria. It is the place to be for Suns fans. You can have a great time even when the team is disappointing you. You can stop by for your chance to win free Suns tickets, which are still fun. It's still fun to go to games, gift certificates, and more exciting prizes. And if you have a decent jump shot, you can compete for your chance in pizza, like horse, but pizza, and see if you can win free pizza for a year and tickets to the Suns game on April 9th. I don't know what's better than free tickets and free pizza, but I'll tell you, hopefully the Suns can get things turned around and we can be happy all the time. Not only when we're eating pizza, but we're watching the game. Get all the info on the watch parties and pizza basketball contest at spinatospizzeria.com. Spinato's, the official pizza of the Phoenix Suns. All right. Well, we still have no opening day starter for the Diamondbacks. According to Torey Lovullo in his press conference today, he is going to make that decision tomorrow on the off day. So that is going to be finally something will probably get word out to us, the media, on Wednesday. But I don't know, Kevin. Again, I'm doing a lot of reckless speculation on this show. It's what I do when I don't have facts or information. But I feel like the reason why this is a tough decision for Torey, and again, complete speculation, is he wants to go with Corbin Burns, and you need to break that to Zac Gallen, right? Like, and not only that, but you got to consider how that decision is going to impact Zac Gallen. Like, Zac Gallen's a professional, but he's a human. He's a person, just like the rest of us are, right? So considering that you want to really do your best to make Zac Gallen happy in a walk here, and do everything you can to show him all the love and respect and everything. I mean, don't you think that factors into the decision making here? Because otherwise, I feel like this is a no-brainer for Torey to decide on who the opening day starter is.
I think you're on the money with that, Derek. But I also think our guy Dalton Feely accurately predicted that when he popped on the pod, and he said, "Look, I don't really care who starts as long as they are okay with it, right? So if you, as Torey Lovello, have in mind who you would want and who you would prefer to be the day one starter, and now you just got to kind of figure out how to massage that information and maybe drag it out a little bit to maybe lessen the impact, or if there is an impact or whatnot. I think it's a locker room chemistry thing. You kind of want to. This is important information to divvy out in a careful way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. But it's one of those things that it's just funny in baseball that by April 15th, none of this matters.
Exactly.
None of it matters by April 15th, right?
You know, Derek, if you want to go down the speculation route, just a little bit further, I feel like this is a contract year for Zac Gallen. You really don't want to upset a guy. You really don't want to, I've been the franchise dude. Like, this is my day to start. If he's one of those guys,
right?
And then you come back and be like, hey, we're actually going to give it to the new guy. We think he's the ace. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe you want to make sure everything goes right on your honeymoon, Derek.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's the whole feeling. Like, I don't trust me. Zac Gallen doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would care about such things. He really doesn't, and he is
me either. For the record, I don't think that he does.
Right?
But if we're going down that route, that's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. But again, you have like, I get my feelings hurt easily all the time by your YouTube comments, almost every single day. But I'm still here. I'm still plugging along. I'm still trying my best. I'm trying to make you guys happy. But again, with Zac Gallen, he has feelings. There are those feelings that could be there. But I also think, like, again, I just wonder how much of that matters to them and how much of that matters more to the fans, right? Like, I don't know. It seems important, though, because Torey really takes his time on making this decision. He puts a lot of thought into it, and he's kind of discussed agonizing over it, which is kind of wild, right? Like I don't know. It once again shows how much Torey cares, but it also shows how Torey cares so much that, like, his caring can maybe be even a little bit of a weakness, right? And I'm not saying that. And we know a connected team is a dangerous team. Don't make me. I'll do the speech and I'll edit myself and the curse words, and it'll be weird, but I'll still do it. It's the fact that in this kind of case, maybe that's a little bit of the problem, is that it's, too much caring, not necessarily enough, just decision making, and just having it be a thing that happens. Again, other teams, it's much easier. They don't necessarily have the turnover. Their ace is their ace, so they know who they're going to go to. Diamondbacks, a little different here in this case. Torey also provided an update. This one's courtesy of our friend Jack Summers from Sports Illustrated, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Torey provided us with an update on Kevin Graveman, who has missed quite a bit amount of time due to some lower back tightness. Here's what Torey had to say about Graveman.
Graveman is for right now in a little treatment phase, still trying to figure out exactly what's going on with his side or his back as well. But I think overall he has good days and bad days, and we just got to figure out how to have a good day every day. And we're still in that process of figuring that out. And I had a brief conversation with him today. I know you were over there. I appreciate you stepping away so I could talk to him. It was a good feel on your part. Not to say that the other guy with no hair would have a great feel in that situation. And I just said, look, if I want 100% of you at all times. And whenever we get there, we're going to know it. And when you're 100%, I want 100% of you for 6 months plus of baseball.
Yeah, we've done that before. We've had guys come back too early and had them, have those multiple stints throughout the year. So understand that Torrey wants to hold off, but also with Graveman, it poses a difficult, situation for him to not really be able to earn a spot in that bullpen. Again, if one of those starting pitchers like Ryan Nelson ends up in the bullpen, there's really only one spot up for grabs when you look at things realistically. And, again, didn't really get too much of an opportunity to compete for that. But another competition is going on, one that we talked about a little while ago. That's the one for essentially our backup player. The Diamondbacks have one position player spot up for grabs, and that's a backup infield job. We got a couple of guys here that are, in the mix. Garrett Hampson, we got Ildemaro Vargas, and we got Jordan Lawler. Now, this is how the guys stack up this spring, at least at the plate. Hampson is batting .242 with a .342 on base percentage and a .675 OPS. Obviously, he has the weakest offensive numbers up there. Ildemaro Vargas, great spring so far, batting .298, .372, .898. Jordan Lawler also having a great spring, .294 batting average, a .368 on base percentage, and an .897 OPS. Now, when you look at those numbers up there, Kevin, if you wouldn't mind putting those back up, you'll see, obviously, I know fans are very excited about Jordan Lawler, right? But the problem here with Lawler is that he is the guy that is kind of the future of this team. This spot that we're discussing isn't a player that's going to get regular playing time, though they might, right? We saw that with Kevin Newman last season, a guy who we didn't know what kind of impact he was going to have on this team and ended up having a big impact. But Lawler most likely is going to end up in AAA on opening day, and it's not because of the way he's performed, and it has nothing to do with how he competed during spring, and it has everything to do with the Diamondbacks not wanting him to sit on the bench and be a backup. It pretty much has to do with them wanting him to play every single day, get that playing time, and get better, and be that guy, right? Like we have quite a few players who are going into a walk year, and it's not just the pitchers that we discussed. Lawler could definitely be an everyday starter next season, depending on how things shake up. So the Diamondbacks want his development to continue. So it really does feel like it's down between Garrett Hampson and Ildemaro Vargas. Now, the big thing there with Hampson is that he has a lot of defensive versatility. Torrey has talked about him playing kind of everywhere. So I think that the super utility aspect to Hampson is really appealing. We look at the numbers, we look at other things, we look at those stats that we just put up, whereas Torrey is thinking more about what he could get out of a guy that can also play the outfield as well as the infield and play them honestly fairly well. I don't want to say he's an outstanding defender anywhere he plays. He might be a little bit of a jack of all trades and a master of none, but he can play all those positions, and that allows Torrey quite a bit of versatility. I mean, and again, that's something that if you've watched the way he's managed in the past, he loves that. He loves a guy, especially in a backup role, that he can use as a backup a lot, a guy that's going to get a lot of playing time. All of these players have really received quite a bit of playing time this season, or this spring, I should say. So these guys have really had a chance for Torrey to see them and take a look at them. You can tell based on their numbers, based on their at-bats, that they've kind of exceeded some of the everyday starters a bit at times. I don't know if they're still there, but they've been up there, as far as their at-bats and how often they've played. So Torrey really has another tough decision there to make. Let's see what we have. Billy the Kid in our chat says, Naylor is a star so far. You couldn't be more right. Not to mention, I love the Diamondbacks fan base. The baseball fans that root for this team are an incredible group of people. Very knowledgeable, very fun, and honestly, a bunch of maniacs. And I think the minute that the Diamondbacks traded for Naylor, I much like many of you thought of that clip of him headbutting several people while not wearing a helmet while they were wearing a helmet. And I knew he was going to be a great fit. I knew he was going to be a fan favorite, but how exciting is it when a guy like this comes in and is playing this well, right? Like, you feel there's going to be a bit of a regression to the means, and you would almost hope it happens in spring before we get to opening day. But maybe not. Maybe just Naylor hits 412 this season, and we get to see him just absolutely go off. JA says Walker who, and he might have said that at the best possible time. I promise I'm not paying him that was a very good alley-oop. I think, Kevin, it's time for us to do a little spying on our exes. Can we spy on our exes for a little bit? Let's take a look. Yeah, let's spy on our exes. We got some exes that we know have moved on, guys that we were sad to see go, maybe guys that we very much wanted to have back on this team, similar to the way that we ended up bringing Randall Grichuk back. But Jock Peterson not having a great spring. This is a crazy stat, though, for you. Jock Peterson has a 208 batting average. He has a 269 on-base percentage. And he has a 936 OPS. Make it make sense. If he's making contact with the ball, it's hard contact, and he's getting multiple bases. It's really what's going on. 3 home runs for Jock, 9 RBI. Most importantly, there are so many Whataburgers in Texas. And I know that makes Jock so incredibly happy. So kudos to him. And at least for the time being, based on the numbers we're seeing from Randall Grichuk and Josh Naylor, we're not too sad right now about that. Christian Walker, though, sadly, still has not played due to an oblique injury. And yeah, I mean, Tori brought this up in the press conference. Candace brings it up in the chat. She says we still love Walker, though. We really do. Like, talk about a guy that normally when a player leaves your organization, a player that you were considering signing for a number of years and a whole lot of money leaves and then immediately experiences an injury on another team, you kind of feel like you dodged a bullet. You kind of feel like a sense of relief. I don't feel that with Christian Walker. I like Christian Walker so much as a person and as a player that it makes me tremendously sad that this is happening to him. It's sad that it's happening to the Astros. Per Astros manager Joe Espada, though, he said, quote, "I'm optimistic he should be fine for opening day." So there you go for Christian. And again, that's an oblique injury that had him miss time during a very critical portion of the Diamondbacks stretch last year. You know, hopefully he can get right. And like Tori said, we want Christian to get right and be right for 6 months and not just for a little period of time, and do very well, except when he's playing the Arizona Diamondbacks. Somebody brought it up in the chat, and yes, you were absolutely right. The Tokyo series starts in, what are we, in about a few hours, not that long away, 12 hours shortly, or less than 12 hours away from Shota Imanaga throwing out the first pitch of the 2025 MLB season. And he will be pitching to one Shohei Ohtani in front of a sold-out crowd at the Tokyo Dome, a place where I've always wanted to go to watch a New Japan Pro Wrestling January 4th show, but that's a whole other story. We should be troubled, though. I want to say this. I read an article about it, and basically the Dodgers manager Dave Roberts was quoted as saying to this extent that every team in baseball should be jealous of what the Dodgers have going on. And you're absolutely right. And we should be troubled by the reach that they're gaining in Japan because they are very popular there. They are becoming beloved, and it's just gaining a further, advantage for a team that already has a number of advantages. I'm not going to sit here and whine and complain about it. I'm not going to say it's unfair. I'm going to say that the Dodgers are an incredibly well-run franchise, and this is another example of that. They understand the impact that this game has, and I'm not comparing it to the Diamondbacks going to Australia or anything like that. I am saying, though, that when you have a chance to go to a country like this, where there are very, very good young players that are making a decision to play in the NPB and then maybe come over here and play in Major League Baseball, that, the Dodgers have said, they've made it no secret that they want these kids to grow up Dodgers fans, and they want them growing up for their favorite players from Japan on the Dodgers, and they want that to be a resource for them, a resource that's, very, especially when players have the choice, signing as an international draft, or international signee, they have the choice of where they go, pretty much like what we saw with Roki Sasaki. So I don't know. It's makes me sad. It makes me once again jealous, like Dave Roberts said. And the only thing I'm hopeful of is that maybe going back to that season the Diamondbacks opened the year up in Australia, maybe this does to the Cubs and the Dodgers what it did to the Diamondbacks, because that was a terrible season and everything just went wrong for them after that point. And again, no offense to either of those teams and their fan base, but yes, all the offense to those teams and their fan base. I want all the bad things to happen to both of your teams and nobody but your teams. There, I said it, and I'm not taking it back. I'm not taking it back. But that's because I'm feeling brave. You know what today is? You know what day it is, and you know what we do around here. And me and Kev, we're going to do it on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, I can always use some Pure Edibles, and that's because Pure Edibles, they have some amazing candies that you can, like specifically candies you might enjoy, you might like Starburst type candies, which is their Kicks, their version of Starburst. You also have chews that are soft candies like caramel, hard candies, and again, these things are not covered in sugar like all of their competitors. Pure Edibles, they have their effects clearly listed on the tins, and they are shareable. You can crack them. You know exactly how much dosage you're getting, and it's a great time. It's always a great time. Pure Edibles their gummies offer sleep support as well as candies with uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids. And this was from a company that was created in Flagstaff, Arizona at Noble Herb Dispensary, the home of Pure Edibles. They are now made right here in Phoenix, Arizona. So make sure to try them out. Go find some Pure Edibles products yourself at one of over 130 dispensaries across this fine state. Speaking of this state, I hope you already have a home. And if you do, congratulations. You are already ahead of the game. But if you don't, you might not have a lot of time. I don't want to create a sense of panic in you, but I will say that Carol Royse and her team can very much help you with that. Carol Royse has been helping first-time home buyers for years right here in the Valley, and whether you are a first-time home buyer or a seasoned pro, Carol can help you get into a home. Their real estate team is very good at what they do. They are very good at finding not only first-time home buyers their first home, but they can also help you plan that next step to your dream home. They can help you out with financing. Carol works with the best lenders, ensuring you get the best rates and loan options, and more importantly, get the personalized care from Carol. She is not going to let you go wrong. She's going to make sure that your deal makes sense for you and that you are financially stable, not only again for this home, but for your future purchases. If you go to the Carol Royse team and you are not happy with your home, Carol Royse is so confident that you will love it that if within 18 months you aren't happy with it, the Carol Royse team will buy it back from you. If you're ready to find your dream home, take the next step. Call Carol Royse or visit Carol online at carolroyseteam.com. That's carolroyseteam.com. Terms and conditions do apply. All right. Well, on Monday, we have a thing we do around here. And that thing we do around here is presented by Waymo, who always gets us home safe. Thank you to Waymo. But every year on this year is the year of the snakes. I know 2025 is the year of the snake, but every year on this show is the year of the snake. Every month on this podcast right here, this baseball podcast, every month is Women's History Month. Every week on this show, of course, is Shark Week, and every day on this show is Earth Day. But Mondays are special. Kev, what do we do on Mondays?
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox.
All right, Kev, what do we got?
What a banger that one is.
It's a notorious banger.
Our guy Travis Moore wants to know, corned beef and cabbage, yes or no? Travis likes it. Also, stay safe on this St. Patty's Day, everyone. Always opt to calling a Waymo.
Waymo.
Let's all get to an opening day next
a good
week,
edit
healthy and ready to yell at the TV.
That's right.
Shout out to Waymo.
Stay home. Always opt to call Waymo. Corned beef and cabbage. I don't know, Kevin. Here's what I will say about myself. I am open, first of all, to any food now that I may not have tried or traditionally wouldn't eat, especially on a holiday. So do I like corned beef and cabbage? Not particularly, but will I eat it on this day, on this anti-snake holiday? Yes, I will. I will, because I love traditions. I love holidays. I love learning more about other people's culture. It's what makes things great. I have great friends that come from all sorts of different cultures. They've shared their food with me. They've shared their, traditions with me, and that part's great. But I'm leaving it on St. Patrick's Day. I'm not having it any other of the 364 days a year.
I love corned beef in other forms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge corned beef and cabbage guy, but when in Rome, like you said, do as the Romans do.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, on St. Patrick's Day, I'll let it fly.
It makes it like don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that goes out on St. Patrick's Day and get yourself a burger. I mean, unless that burger comes with corned beef and cabbage on top, and now you're talking.
Or the bun is
now
green.
We got an Irish.
Can the bun be green and still be passable?
Just do something fun. That's all I'm saying. Do something fun. All right, what else we got?
Question number 2. Craig Jr. wants to know, Dbacks make their own luck. Extensions, Zac Gallen, do we try to lock him in now? Gino, is extending him now an option, knowing we need to make room for Lawler? If he goes lights out in the first half of the season, would sure be hard to see him go to free agency.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, man. I mean, I what I will say is Gino is getting older, and the Diamondbacks have done a good job at knowing when the right time is to move on potentially from that player, right? We're seeing it with what happened with Christian Walker just a little bit, and it's not the end of the world. It's not to say like I don't want to be like, oh, Christian Walker was, put him out to pasture. He's past his prime. Look at what's happening with the oblique injury. No, I said it time and time again on this show that the best replacement for Christian Walker was Christian Walker. But, you do get to a point where, you got to start moving on to the future, especially when you have a very talented player in Jordan Lawler down there. And I don't know. I will say, taking a step backwards in the question, the Zac Gallen extension doesn't feel like something that you don't want to do. It's more of a Zac Gallen not wanting to do it kind of thing. I have a feeling that the Diamondbacks, again, this is speculation because, quite frankly, Mike Hazen does a great job at keeping his cards close to his vest, right? He's told us straight up before that there's nothing to gain from Mike Hazen or the Diamondbacks admitting to pursuing a free agent that they missed out on, or, of course, like going after a guy that may have wanted to leave to free agency. The only thing it looks at the end of the day like is that the organization failed in their pursuit of that player, right? They've made it clear that they want Zac Gallen back, and there's no doubt in my mind that they haven't attempted negotiations or had some sort of talk in some way about contract extension. It really comes down to Zac wanting to test the waters for free agency and see what he can get. And at this point, I am leaning towards, depending on what kind of year he has, I'm leaning towards the Diamondbacks having a chance still at bringing him back. I think it might be a bit more like the Lourdes situation or the Randall Grichuk situation, where if they do, perhaps he tests free agency first, gives the team a fair shot to match it or beat the offer that he's receiving, and maybe he wants to stay here. I don't know. Gallen does strike me as the kind of guy that, like, besides wanting more money, I feel like Gallen might want, to play on a bigger stage, right? To play for one of those teams that, unfortunately, are the big teams in baseball that get all the national attention and get all the love, right? So there's a little bit of me that wouldn't be surprised to see Gallen end up in a New York Yankees uniform or as a Boston Red Sox or something like that. Just nothing in the National League West at all. I won't permit it. I won't allow it. I won't permit it, and I won't allow it. I think I said that twice in a row. And much like I tell my daughter, when I say things twice in a row, I mean it. I mean it. Kevin, what else we got in the mailbag?
Real quick, Derek, we were talking about Japan earlier.
Yes.
And the games going on over there. Did you catch the Dansby Swanson camera angle that they got at the Cubs game? You should look it up, the full video. It is gorgeous. It looks right out of a video game. Look at this, Derek.
Let's see it.
So it's a behind him.
Stop it.
Third person, like video game style
angle. Is this an
angle.
actual view of an actual baseball game right now?
Yeah, our good friends over at SI. Shout out to Jack Summers. They have an article about it. I was making sure it wasn't AI on my Twitter or something, because it is that beautiful.
Yeah,
and
it looks like video game footage.
Yeah,
like really good video game footage.
MLB The Show, be a player kind of an angle that the
100%.
Cubs stream had in Japan. So I thought that was a crazy thing that the MLB needs to implement.
That's like that 4K camera when they started getting that for like the Sellies and NFL and stuff. Like,
like in the out of the huddle shots.
Yeah, you were just like, oh my God, when did I start watching Madden? When did
Christopher Nolan become head of production at the NFL Network?
cinema. All right, what else we got?
All right, you talk about testing waters. Eddie Waters wants to know, we've been doing a lot of pitcher talk Thomas or McCarthy? What have we seen this spring, and what will end up happening at center?
I hate this. It's going to be Jake McCarthy. That's what my gut says. That's how I feel. And again, I think that really at the end of the day, what it comes down to is what adjustments could Alec Thomas make at the plate to have a better, approach, right? Jake McCarthy, he so far this spring is batting .233 with a .250 on base percentage and a .622 OPS. Those numbers aren't screaming at you that he's won the position, right? But unfortunately, when you take a look at Alec Thomas's numbers, they're even worse than that. So it's like, it's hard to imagine Alec Thomas right now having done much at this point with batting .171 with a .550 OPS. That's really done much to win the position over Jake McCarthy. I don't really know the answer here, but I feel like I'm leaning towards Jake. I think Jake kind of already had an advantage there, and realistically, Alec had to kind of have himself a really good spring. I think it's unfortunate that Alec is having, the lack of success that he's having right now. And again, as I said earlier, I still feel like he's a great baseball player. I still feel like he's one of those guys that if, continued adjustments and continued coaching could get him right back to where he once was, where he was much more productive at the plate. But you're just seeing those, dribblers, the little soft, rollers to shortstop and to second base far too often. And I don't know. I mean, I think right now Jake McCarthy is edging him out, but again, he hasn't done a whole lot this spring to really, to set himself that much distance between him and Alec. It really comes down to what the guys are working on and how the coaching staff internally feels. No matter how these numbers stack up, it comes down to are they making the adjustments that they're being asked to? Are they doing the things that Torrey and Mather are asking of them? And I don't know. I mean, I've been around both guys. They're really, really good baseball players and really fine young gentlemen, both of them. They both had kind of a similar career path, a similar personal life path. Both of them, like marriage happening or at least engagements happening for both of them recently. So this is something that, again, it comes down to maybe these numbers are what matters more. And right now that would definitely be Jake. Caesar in the chat, or Cesar, says, where do you think Lawler will end up? And again, I don't know if you were here earlier, but it really comes down to Lawler getting every day at bat. So he's been having a great spring. I think he should be on the roster. It just there's no room for him, and it's a matter of getting him everyday playing time. So I think he's going to end up in Reno as well, unfortunately, and see how things go. But again, he's one of those guys that one injury away from making the major league roster, one bad couple of months potentially from being called up to help out there, maybe at third base, maybe at shortstop. So we'll see how, obviously, as things progress this season, how that plays out. But my gut instinct tells me Jake McCarthy ends up in center field, and both Alec Thomas and Jordan Lawler end up in Reno. Let's get one more in, and then we got some ads to read.
Before the buzzer, flea ball. Do you think Torrey has turned the page when it comes to random days off? How many games for Gino? If he stays healthy, 162?
On a Torrey Lovullo team? Madness! Craziness! Never. No, Torrey hasn't turned the page on anything. Torrey probably at times feels even more validated in the way that he runs his team based on kind of running out of steam at the end of the season last year, right? Having guys get injured, having those guys miss time. He definitely has remorse still about what happened with Christian Walker and his oblique injury. He felt like he brought him back too soon and got a chance to re-aggravate it. I know he had those feelings about Eduardo Rodriguez with his injury early on. So no, I do not think Torrey changed his ways at all. I think Torrey is always going to be a manager that understands that a 162 game regular season is a marathon and not a sprint. And as much as we would like to see Gino out there playing every single day like he did for the Mariners, or Ketel Marte never have a day off, that's never going to happen. Torrey will fist fight these guys to keep them in the dugout before he let them play 162 games. I don't even see any guys playing 150 games in a Torrey Lovullo managed team. It's just not how he runs the team, and he's never going to change that, because in his opinion, in his mind, keeping guys fresh and giving them those days off are a huge part of how you get through a 162 game season. And he's really big on that during spring training. Like, I think tomorrow is an off day for them, and Torey will demand that these guys go and spend personal time and go golf and do fun stuff and get completely away from the game. And meanwhile, Corbin Carroll will probably want to sneak into another high school and smack dingers around with his mom throwing batting practice or something. I don't know. That guy never stops. But we have to take a quick break. We have to take a stop here real fast, but we will be right back on the other side of this break with a few more Mailbag Monday questions, including some really good ones. You know, the best ones always come in the final segment. So don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, make sure you elevate your brand with Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel company. Of course, not only do they have amazing designs for you to buy as a consumer, including U of A designs, ASU designs, Phoenix Suns designs, and more, but they can help you and your company stand apart from the crowd with custom headwear and apparel. And let me tell you, they even let this joker right here make his own hat, and they didn't steer me wrong with that. It was great to see their wall of logos and how many companies they've designed logos for and worked with. So make sure if you are looking to have that kind of same standard set for your team, start your order and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. They're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona. So head to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Check out their amazing Arizona hats. I love those hats. I wear them all the time. So make sure check out all that Branded Bills has to offer. And whatever the moment, it's never ordinary over at Bet365. You know Bet365 helps make watching live sports more fun with their live in-game betting, which they helped pioneer. They also offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. So check it out. Tomorrow is Tuesday. It's another Bet365 NBA Tip-Off Tuesday. You can place a qualifying parlay bet totaling $20 or more on tomorrow's NBA games, and you will get up to $25 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply, but again, just because the Suns lose, don't mean you have to. New customers right now can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use that code of PHNX365 when you do, deposit $10, place a bet of $5 or more, and you will get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. And of course, once again, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. And again, shout out to Waymo for sponsoring our Mailbag Monday. Shout out to our guy Travis Moore, for reminding everybody to get home safe with Waymo. And let's get to it. We got some more questions. This is it. Andrew Dang says, dang, I'm late. Well, that's kind of funny considering your last name.
Andrew Dang.
Dang's late. The journey's leaving us, but he will be back. Thank you so much for stopping by. Glad to have you here on a live episode. And you are not late, Andrew Dang. You made it right in time for the best part of Mailbag Monday. I'm just going to say right now, if you're watching over on gophnx.com, or you're watching on TV, head on over to gophnx.com to catch the rest of this episode, because we're definitely not stopping at the 1 hour mark. We got too much to go. The journey's just taking a Waymo home so you can continue watching the show. See, we got him. All right, what else we got, Kev? What do we got in the mailbag?
All right, coming out of the mailbag comes from Michael Rokicki. Triple threat match. This is why I'm on camera. Triple threat match for the 5th rotation spot. Brandon Pfaadt versus Ryan Nelson. Jordan Montgomery. I'm going to say in Brussels on Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
With Tea Time as the guest referee. Who wins, Derek? And you and I were talking about this.
Okay, how am I booking this match? All right, so you got Jordan Montgomery, the obvious heel here in this situation, right?
Obviously, yeah.
Big time bad guy. Crowd boos, all that stuff, right? When he comes out.
Yep.
But he's a heater. He's got something to work with. He's a barroom brawler, if you will. So I definitely have him kind of in that. He's got to take that dominant role in this match. Then you got two young baby faces in Ryan Nelson and Brandon Pfaadt. Now Ryan Nelson, I imagine, as a pro wrestler, would throw something similar to like, what did we decide? Like a Logan Paul punch,
yeah,
right?
we were kind of making fun of Logan Paul by saying Ryan Nelson would have the Logan Paul moveset, which is really just the Hangman Page
moveset,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, definitely. I feel like, again, it would be the bionic punch. Really, it's just he has the one thing, but it's devastating, and he can locate it. So That's his fastball, right? Then on the other side, you have the obvious babyface Brandon Pfaadt, right? Straight out of Louisville, Kentucky. I said it right that time, Brandon. Very unassuming, calm, you know, maybe takes a beating early in this match, but he got to have that moment. I don't want to say he
Sami Zayn almost.
There you go. He's Sami Zayn's up. I was going to use another wrestler that I don't want to
kind of the politically
talk
correct
about
bad guy, and we're not saying he's a bad guy, but the guy where he who shall not be named.
Yeah, right.
Sami Zayn has some of those traits in his matches.
Yeah, Brandon Pfaadt definitely has a haluva kick in him, you know, for sure. I mean, you could even say Jordan Montgomery and Brandon Pfaadt are the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in this match, right?
Oh, I kind of love that.
Right?
Because you know what I was going to say?
Because like I said earlier, Ryan Nelson, he's not really in it. He's not really. So he's Logan Paul in this triple threat match. They don't care about him. They're not concerned with him. Ryan Nelson might easily pick up a win here because the other two are too busy battling it out against each other.
They got down to almost the PLE and realized, oh, we don't got a booking for Ryan Nelson.
Right.
We need something for Ryan Nelson.
Yeah.
And so let's throw him in this triple threat. Yeah. But I was going to say on the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn comparison, you're on the money. We're thinking on the same brain here because I said, what would Jordan Montgomery's finishing move be in my head? And I thought powerbomb.
Powerbomb. Pop-up powerbomb. Maybe even small package pile driver. Ooh. Because that's pretty heinous, right? Like that's what he's going with now lately.
Who wins the match though, Derek? What's the finish? What's the finish of the match?
In my opinion, it's Jordan Montgomery dominating, and then like he maybe just slips up, and then you get Brandon Pfaadt just coming in for the win, coming in hot. Like I said, haluva kick, maybe a little springboard off the top rope action, and then, you know, just doing something you wouldn't expect him to do. Because again, pacifist, comes out to a calm song, doesn't really sound like a guy that's hyped and ready to like fight. Definitely doesn't come out to a Sami Zayn tune. He would come out to like Enya or something.
Go out of Jordan Montgomery. No.
It's coming out to AJR. That's the hypest he's getting is AJR. But yeah, no, I'm putting Brandon Pfaadt over in that match. That's who I'm putting over.
I am having Montgomery powerbomb Pfaadt through a table onto the outside of the ring, right? He goes to war with Ryan Nelson in the middle, center of the ring, and then power bombs Ryan Nelson, is going to go for the pin. Pfaadt from the outside recovers. Little small package pin right there from behind.
Smart.
Little trickster.
Then he rolls back out and runs away with the referee holding up his hand. I love it. We booked this. We're ready for WrestleMania. All right, what else we got? I know we got more wrestling questions. Ryan Hanley says 10 chops to the chest or a low blow. Kev, oh my God. We're talking here real chops to the chest.
Yeah, like Ric Flair chops to the chest.
Which I have been chopped before by a pro wrestler named Caveman Ugg. And there's video of this that I really don't want to let see the light of day.
I was going to say, you didn't give me that to put on the show today? That's kind of crazy.
I know, because it's on purpose. Sometimes when some bad things happen to you, you want to hide it. When it's embarrassing, you don't. Like, I come from a time where people had shame, Kevin. I don't know if you know what that's like, but obviously I don't follow that philosophy any longer of having shame, but definitely have one of those. Being chopped is one of those things that I feel like after the first time, especially if it's a good chop, you're going to go numb. Now, for those of you not familiar with pro wrestling terminology, a chop is when another grown man slaps you in the chest. Right. Yeah. It can be a backhand. It can be a forehand. It could be back. It could be both. It could be like that. It could be. But there's some instances, like one time when I saw Gunther versus PCO at Joey Janela's spring break, that two men basically made each other just bleed and black and blue from chopping each other. So it's an aggressive thing that is real. There's no, you're just really slapping another person on their chest. Meanwhile, he's also talking about low blow, but he's talking about low blow in real life. Now, I'll take being chopped 1,000 times over ever actually being low blowed, especially the way they do it in pro wrestling. They don't just like, they go, yeah, Kevin gets it. They go with the whole thing. They'll get you with like part of their elbow in here. That doesn't look like it feels good at all. I don't like that one bit.
No, I'm going with the chops, Derek. Oh. And something we didn't mention about the chops, you can go to your friends and say, hey, this pro wrestler chopped me. Like, I got one of those. I know what it feels like.
Yeah, you're not
I don't
bragging
think your
about
friends
getting low
care
blood.
if you got hit below the belt.
Well, they'll
really.
definitely care.
Well, they'll care, but it's like
They'll care.
No,
They'll
but I'm
want
saying-
video of
But
it
if
for
it's set
sure.
up, if it's set up in a way where it's like, hey, I'm gonna go get hit low blow, it's like, okay, that's kind of a strange choice that you made there, you know. But the chops are like, oh, that's cool. What's that like, you know? Because I think on some level, a lot of people know what it's like to have some pain, you know what I'm saying, like that. But yeah, Derek, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I don't know, Kevin. I'm definitely going with the chops for sure. What else we got?
Next up, Mark, FMK, drinking Guinness, singing with the lads over drinks, or big giant green hats.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I mean, this one's, believe it or not, this one's actually fairly simple to me. Can we put it back up there just so I have my reference point here? Okay.
Drinking Guinness,
Drinking
singing
Guinness,
with the lads,
singing with the lads
big giant
over
green
drinks.
hats.
Okay. This is so easy to me. And the reason why is because there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to marry singing with the lads over drinks.
Yep.
I want to marry. I want singing with the lads over drinks to be an every weekend occurrence for the rest of my life until the day I die. I want to commit. I want to put a ring on singing with the lads over drinks. Does that not sound like the best time? Like,
It does.
Yes,
We're
on St.
kind of
Patrick's
aligned here,
Day,
yeah, we're kind of
but
aligned.
also every day, like every single day. So there's that. I mean, it might get old after a while, but I don't care. I'm taking it like a good marriage. Maybe it does get old, but you still enjoy it and you love it and you're having a great time every single day. So yeah, there, I'm taking that. The F part, probably drinking Guinness, because I definitely want to kill the big green hats.
Yeah, they're just kind of, it's kind of just the third option there, right?
I don't want a big green hat.
You
I
have
don't
two
wanna
good
wear a big green
options, and
hat.
then you got a big green hat.
Did you see the Diamondbacks hats today with the little shamrocks? They had like little
I didn't catch
shamrock
that.
print on it. They're a green hat.
That's kind of fire.
It's totally fire. I'm going to wear it one day a year, and I want it more than anything I've ever wanted in my whole entire life. So if anybody's looking to get me a birthday present next week, there you go. But besides that, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't want any kind of big green hat. So yeah, no, those are getting killed. That's it's the easiest FMK ever.
We're really close on this, but I'm actually gonna
What?
swap. I'm gonna swap them for the same reason you ended up at the end of the day, the singing with the lads, the actual activity of singing might end up getting a little repetitive. But what you miss with the first option of just drinking Guinness, you could do whatever and drink a Guinness except for drive. Whatever and drink a, you know what I'm saying? You can have Guinness and maybe you meet out with the lads later. It wasn't exclusive. So would you rather just sing with the lads or maybe drink a Guinness and decide after that?
I have the option to drink Guinness now, and I choose not to. I drink other beers, and this is no free ad for Guinness or other beers. But the point is that when given the choice, I'm free will, and I choose not to drink Guinness. So I'm gonna go maybe have a fling with Guinness every once in a while. I'm gonna have a one night stand with Guinness. Guinness is a booty call. Guinness is not what I want to do with my time all the time. I want to sing with the lads over beers all the time.
I appreciate it.
Every single weekend.
We established, for those that tuned into PHNX Puffs last night, shout out to Groundhog Mama, who is a regular in that chat. I'm not a big karaoke guy, so I think singing with the lads is inherently a little less desirable to me than just having a Guinness. You know what I mean?
Nah, guys broke me on that. Saul broke me on that. Me and Saul sang Dick in a Box together, so we have bonded in a way that me and no other human being will ever bond.
Maybe except for Guinness.
Except Guinness, yeah. Sometimes, occasionally.
All right, before we
When
get
I'm
kicked off of
lonely.
air here.
Yeah, what else we got?
Question number 8. Jacob Schultz wants to know, which player coach is the first to the pub after the game?
Oh, wow. Which player or coach? Like, Tori seems an obvious answer there, but we're talking St. Patrick's Day. So part of me wants to say Merrill Kelly, but I know that the correct answer has to be Scott McGuff, right? Like I'm going with Irish things there. I don't know.
You are going with Irish things there, Derek. I was gonna say, like, you know the actual individuals in this locker room a lot better than I do.
Yeah, it would have been Christian Walker, no doubt. Christian Walker would have been, and it wouldn't have been for a Guinness. He would have been there for a strong bourbon, a very expensive bourbon, and yes, he would have been the first one there. But I don't even know if he needed to because he had a whole entire bar in his locker. So first person, oh man, see that's hard because so many, honestly, like when I think of the Diamondbacks players, I don't think of any of them as drinkers. I mean, I know that they probably partake in drinking. I know several of them probably enjoy it quite a bit. I feel like in a very dad way, it would probably be Joe Mantiply. Not like a big Joe Mantiply just strikes me as like the most daddy dad that you've ever seen. I said daddy.
I was about to say, whoa,
that was gross.
Whoa.
Yeah, that felt weird coming out. But Caesar says Seth Beer. Yeah,
we are off the rails.
Seth Beer was an obvious answer, but yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Joe Mantiply seems like the kind of guy that would saddle up to the bar and have a drink. His family was involved in cattle ranching, so I think that's why I strongly feel that. But again, just speculation on my part. What else we got? We got one more?
Last, but certainly not least.
Oh, it's Elizabeth question.
Elizabeth, if you could have Damon and Kevin compete in a series of challenges, what would you have them compete in, and who would win? I will let you ISO on this one because I am involved in the question.
Oh, that's such a good question. Immediately, the thing that comes to mind is which Nickelodeon show am I putting you guys on? Am I putting you as a team on Double Dare to go into the Big Nose and find the flag? I don't think so. Am I sending you to Legends of the Hidden Temple? That's too much fun. I refuse to do that. The challenge I'm putting you guys through is the aggro crag on Guts. That's what I'm putting you through. And Kevin is far too young to even probably understand that reference.
Literally no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. See, I knew it.
I thought maybe, hole in the wall.
Sick. You make me sick.
Hole in the wall could be fun. Watching me and Damon try to do like crazy, contortions to our body and try to fit through the wall.
I'm watching a show right now called Extracted. And the idea of you being the guy that works with Damon, the premise of the show is the contestants are out in the wild by themselves trying to survive with very little supplies and very little assistance. And should they either, freak out and need help or get medically injured or just not want to be out there anymore, they can ask their people back at the HQ to extract them. And that's when you lose the game. And I feel very much like you guys would be a terrible team, but it would be hilarious to watch you guys. Like Damon would be out there just the whole time being asked to be extracted. Like, bro, this isn't fun anymore. And Kevin would be back and be like, you've been there for 6 hours. Go make a tent. It would be like that. Damon would be like, it's chilly. Extract me. That would be great.
I feel like me and Damon, like you said, we're a good team, but I feel like in that kind of a context, we would end up strangling one another.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's definitely what I feel like. I mean, I don't know. I think I still like the idea of you guys being on a Nickelodeon show together, though. That definitely amuses me. But
Derek, who wins? Cesar wants to know who wins in a 999 challenge between me and Damon. I do feel like this answer may be obvious.
Yeah, it's Damon.
What?
It's Damon.
Yo, what?
I feel like you are immediately going to the size thing. Are you not?
Yeah, but also I can eat. The reason I was so big for a long part of my life is because I was eating a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I also eat a lot of things and always have. It doesn't mean that I didn't experience my own setback and disappointment when I attempted the Waffle House challenge. I know you. It's not the 9 hot dogs that I'm concerned with you consuming because that's what you're focusing on. It's the 9 beers.
Okay.
It is the 9 beers.
Okay.
And it is the speed of it. I am no longer equipped for these kind of challenges. And I've realized that now. And I have no problem stepping back and saying my time in the spotlight is over when it comes to eating challenges. But
I'll take my extraction dub. Damon can have the 999 challenge.
Okay.
I feel like there's levels to this.
All right. Well, it's nothing personal. It's mostly about the alcohol consumption. But I know so many people are going to do that exact thing on this day. So I'm going to let you guys go get to it. But I do appreciate you stopping by to celebrate this anti-snake holiday with us. As always, I love you guys. Make sure to leave a like before you get out of here. I did have a programming note. We talked about it a little bit with our diehards. Of course, make sure to drop us a comment or your thoughts on this, or contact me on Twitter. But during regular season post-game shows, we're going to be coming to you a little bit later than we normally have, so I can go do some post-game coverage, including discussing the game with Tori and going into the clubhouse for player reactions. So again, hope you guys all stick with us in regards to that. Hope you enjoy us being able to bring as close to the amount of content as we used to last season. So love you guys. Appreciate you. As always, of course, make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. My guy Kev is at Kevo Posts. Kev on Stage is still dominating that search bar when you go to look for his name.
It's crazy because he doesn't even go by Kevo. It's just
Kev on.
It's happenstance that the next word.
You're never gonna meet Kev on Stage. You're never gonna meet him.
Don't underestimate me, Derek. He is simply a comedian.
He's a very niche audience, but everybody loves Kev on Stage.
I actually also love his content.
We all do. But of course, our show's at PHNX_Dbacks. As always, though, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for your time. Again, have a very safe night. Enjoy this anti-snake holiday, but enjoy it safely. Make sure you get home safe. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. I'm going to be joined by one Tea Time Ryan Thompson on that episode to talk a little bit about his thoughts on this team, especially considering he's becoming a grizzled old vet around these parts lately. So make sure to join us back here on Wednesday for that. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful evening and a wonderful Tuesday. Be safe, behave yourselves, and remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when Torey finally announces an opening day starter.
We all silly like the mayor.